Auto Credit Express.
Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast,
Credit Express.
the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
Who the man, Mr. Sean V. Bradley. Oh, let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here on the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and I already told you who it is. L.A. Williams, the blind phone master, and I got my main man, the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman movement, right, Mr. Sean V. Bradley, CSP. And we brought to the microphone, you already heard her laughing, right? You already see her on the screen if you're watching live in the group, the amazing Miss Vicky Cooper. I'm telling you, this lady is a serious millionaire car salesman. If she don't even know it, I'm blessing her life right now and just saying that she is the millionaire car saleswoman. I'm super excited about her.
Absolutely awesome. Vicky, first of all, I was thinking about this. How long have I known you for?
We started our journey together in 2005. My very first year, in my first 30 days, my manager, my GM, when I was working at the Mercedes-Benz store, flew me to Philly to do a conference back in the day with a training group, and I believe it was an internet sales group 20.
Yes.
Meeting, and we did it in Philly. I met your wife. We had a great time at the restaurant, but we got down to some serious business, and that is what carried me through. Went every year to your groups, to your conferences, and we just kind of took it from there.
So this is crazy because I'm almost scared and embarrassed because that 2005 was only a year after I started my company, and Sean Bradley in 2021 is completely different than Sean Bradley in 2005. So first of all, I wanted to just thank you for rocking with me that long. But what's crazy though, is that you were at conferences, but it's not like we were doing personal coaching and development, things like that. So it was more like conference information and on social media. We've kept in touch for, what is that? It's like over 15 years, 16 years now. Yeah. Years, and it's been amazing because you said that's when you first got into the industry, and 16 years later here we are, because what you've just done is phenomenal. So let's hit the audience right in between the eyes. What did you just sell the other month?
36 and a half, cradle to grave.
Wow. So 36 units, but these are not regular units. You are the special finance guru, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
We do a special finance manager, special finance. And then I moved more over into the role of leasing retention. And then I moved back. They moved me back into the internet. So, I had a conglomerate mix of, sold customers last month.
So if you don't mind me asking, the grosses, how much are you averaging out of those 36 cars per copy?
Front end, you're looking around probably $3,000.
And back, front and back. No, I would the whole thing.
Front and back, we're averaging around $6,000.
Holy shit! So $6,000.
Between 5 and 6 front and back.
Okay, so if my math's correct, okay, because I'm just doing this. So 36 cars times 6, 1, 2, 3. That's $216,000 that you grossed off of just 36 cars.
I think because I don't get paid on the back end.
Right.
So my front end gross was, I think, 42.
Wow. But that's still, but the dealership's getting paid on the back end. And that's my point, is that you are one individual, one person, and you were in charge of almost $250,000 in revenue to the dealership. And that doesn't even take an account with whatever money came in on from the trades that get sold or the service business, the ROs that come through. And this is my point, is that one person, man, woman, doesn't even matter. Hell, alien with a kickstand, a person was able to generate almost $250,000 in revenue. That's powerful. And the two big things that you were focused on was special finance and then lease retention. But before we get into that, again, this is not a setup, right? Like I came into the conversation with you in LA and you were talking about stuff, and I want you to talk about that because we never talk about our clients, talking about our products and services. We only just show the aftermath of success. But you posted something in our group like right after you started training Bradley Man. Can you share? You're not even a paying client of mine. True or false?
That is correct. I am not.
Okay. And I haven't paid you for an endorsement or a bribe or nothing, right?
No, I just happened to win a contest.
All right. So everybody,
this
is the contest that we just ran, what was it, a month ago or so, where it was basically, I was giving $10,000 away and you won the Bradley Demand Video on Demand Training, Tracking, Testing Certification. Can you just share what you think as an automotive veteran of 16 years? What do you think about the platform, one, and then second, the information?
First of all, when you told me that I won and, your office contacted me, gave me my login, gave me my info, of course, you're just going to jump right on it and you go in and I look and I was like absolutely, completely overwhelmed. I was like, oh my God, there's so much information here. I don't even know where to start. And so, you kind of start bouncing around from module to module. And I was like, I need to settle in and, start. We had our one-on-one, the free one-on-one consult. I had a one-on-one, I believe, with one of your other, office staff, which really laid out a plan. And from there, the very first thing I jumped to was Karen's time maximization. And I know that, some people want, a lot of people, they attack it differently. But in order for me, and I felt like in order for me to really get the most out of the program with while the time that I have, I needed to condense and maximize my time. And I remember that she had done in one of the ISG 20 group conferences a whole session, a seminar on time maximization. And for me, I knew that's a weak point for me. I know that it's something that I needed to work on. And I jumped right into that session. And from there, I was able to lay out my weekly planning, stop putting second things first, having a clear plan at the end of every month, leading into the next month, every week, right down to daily to-do lists. And it's really helped me not just in my career, but also in my personal life.
Talk about that, because I want to talk about that because that's it right there. We're human beings. We have relationships, we have children, we have spouses, we've got friends, we got family. And sometimes people in the automotive industry work bell to bells and they're emotionally distressed. They're sad because they're missing, time with the loved ones or what have you. And people don't really take time to really learn how to maximize their time and eliminate distractions and things like that. So do you feel that section on Bradley Bam was really helpful for you, the time maximization organization?
It was worth every minute that I spent on that one. And I just didn't go through it once. I went through it 3 times because I knew that just hearing it once, I'm going to listen and okay, yeah, I need to do that, and hearing it again, I'm like, you know what? I really need to sit down and write out a plan. And the third time I'm able to put it into action because I've heard it twice before and it's in the back of my mind, but you get caught up, you waste time, you go run out and grab some lunch, or, you got somebody coming in and you're trying to get a car ready and, I need to make these phone calls. And I was like an unorganized disaster. And now that I have a clear plan on what I'm doing every week, even down to the time and down to what I'm doing every day, and I come in with a goal in mind, it has made my life so much easier.
That's amazing. And I want to reinforce what you just said. Most people that do virtual training, they think it's like a chore that I just got to watch it once. This is not Netflix. You can't just binge watch videos and be successful. Real training, audience, listen to me. Real training comes from 2 things: repetition, and time/experience. So the more time that you work on something, the more time you expose yourself to certain information, and the more that you hear it over and over. Vicky, like I have kids and I can't tell you how many times I watch freaking Disney movies. And then I'm like, it's almost like I didn't really watch it the first time. Every time I watch it, over and over again, whether it's Frozen or what have you, I pick up little nuances. People that have a lot of faith, that read the Bible, that every time you read the Bible, it could have a different interpretation or different meaning because you're at a different place in your life, mentally, emotionally, maturity-wise, etc. I believe that's relevant for training too. You can't just watch something or read something once. You need the repetition, so it sinks in, it marinates, and you really absorb it. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Agree, 100%. And it was because I went to that section first instead of just jumping in with learning how to leave a better voicemail or learning how to text message customers, which being in the car business, you have those basic skills. And I knew where I was lacking. And there is something on this platform. People, I'm telling you, there is something that you are missing, that you have a weak point. And part of becoming a better person, a better salesperson, and even in personal life is knowing where your weak points are and practice and get better and learn and talk to and read and, read a blog, read, affirmations daily or whatever it takes to overcome your weakness. And for me, it was time maximization. And Karen is a saint for that session.
Listen, first of all, for the record, Vicky, I tell everybody that the number one reason why you should hire me or work with me is because I'm a closer. I sold my wife on the dream. I mean, again, that was the best spot that I ever did in my life. You know what I mean? The highest gross with the relationship. Though, you also mentioned L.A. Williams, about the phone training. And what I like that you said, and I don't want to lead you anything like that, but what I heard you say is that, you thought that you knew everything you needed to know until. Can you explain that?
I did. As you mentioned before when you introduced me, I've been in the car business since 2005. And when you're a veteran and you think that you just know everything, I've presented 270 pencils last year. I know how to get a customer on the phone. I know how to leave a voicemail. I know how to present numbers. I know how to give a trade. I know this. I know that. I know all the rebuttals. I know what I'm doing. You don't need to tell me what I'm doing because I've done it before and I've been doing it. And that's the attitude that a lot of veteran salespeople have. And humbly, honestly, that's where I was. I was like, nah, I'm doing fine. I don't need to learn anything until this platform came along. And after I went through the time maximization with Karen, I hopped right into phones because internet is phone and you're trying to funnel customers down, further into the funnel to where they buy. And I started listening to L.A. Williams sessions, courses on there. And I knew what I was lacking. I sounded like a damn Siri. I sounded like a bot every time I left a voicemail. There was no inflection. There was no excitement. It's, hi, this is Vicky. I'm calling from Toyota. You called about the Highland. Why? I wouldn't want to call me back. I'm not going to call me back. Why would a customer want to call me back? And the one thing that he stressed in his very first course was inflection of voice on a voicemail. You have to be excited. You have to create the sense of urgency and excitement when it comes to a customer, or they're not going to call you back. They're going to go to the next dealer or they're going to go to the next brand. And that right there meant the world to me as far as being excited, leaving just a proper voicemail. And it takes one thing to switch your brain and how you've learned how to do things and to come out of a bad habit.
So you bring up a very good point, and the question I'm about to drop here is a lot of salespeople that have been in the business for almost 20 years, like yourself. There's no way in hell that they're going to listen or have you. So what made it, I don't know, even possible in your mind to be open to listening to LA's information? Is it because you've known us for a long time? We're in social media and we communicate. You see all the dealer successes. There's something that had to happen besides you getting the platform that allowed you to be receptive and open to evolutionary thinking. What was that?
After these messages, we'll be right back. Attention auto dealers. You need an opportunity to do business. AutoWeb is one of the largest suppliers of high quality leads. I mean, high quality buyers. At a 10% closing ratio, you will be at less than $190 per car sold. Don't just settle for what you get. AutoWeb can fully customize your results through targeted markets and or zip codes. And as a partner, you will get premium placement within search results. Who better to do that than literally the people that invented automotive internet sales? If you want to sell more cars more often and more profitably, then you need AutoWeb.
Don't be the last one with your hand up at the auction. VinQ Vehicle Buying Center gives dealers the digital and in-store tools you need to buy direct from the public. On average, inventory bought from the public grosses $1,200 higher on the front end alone. VinQ turns buying cars direct from the public into a business. The most profitable dealerships in the country are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in additional front-end gross. Private party acquisition starts with VinQ. See it at VinQ.com.
I think, we are all in sales and car sales. I think we're all driven by income, because income allows you to do other things in your personal life. And I knew that I wasn't at my income potential, and I knew something had to change. And that's where it started. Now, it started for me 6 months ago, before I even ever came onto this platform. And, being a member of the Millionaire Car Group, you see all these people, I'm knocking it out of the park. I'm selling 30, I'm selling 40, I'm selling 50. Hey, I had $50,000 in gross. And you're like, what am I missing? Why, if they can do it, why can't I? And when you see young salespeople become very successful and you're like, that's just a green pea, you're easy to discount it. When in fact, you really need to take a step back. And I'm like, no, Vicky, there is something that I'm missing. What is it? Let me go back to the basics. What is, step by step, what am I doing? And you have to really be willing to take a long, hard look at yourself as a salesperson, as a consultant, as a person that loves this industry so much. What is it that I'm missing? I have great relationships with my customers. I have lifelong relationships with my customers. These people are coming back second and third leases. I've been at this dealership for 7 years, but I'm still missing something. What is it? And when I hit that phone voicemail block in the course, that was the one thing that really resonated with me. It's like, oh my God, my voicemails suck.
That's powerful.
And folks, what Vic is talking about in Brad and Man is we have a whole phone sales section, outbound, inbound, objections, rebuttals, but there's a section that LA created called the voicemail strategy section. And in our CRMs, when we work with full dealerships, we have a library of over 30 different voicemail scripts. But instead of doing what every other trainer does and just giving you a word track or the scripts for that, LA took the time to do the audio recordings to not only just give the scripting, but the proper tone and inflection. But you know what? I want to talk about something different. I'm going to redirect for a minute here. I've actually had stupid people that were in the group that we booted out, critique, hey, why is everybody bragging and saying that I sold 3 cars or 30 cars? This is why. America, listen to what Vicky just said. She is and was a successful automotive professional for the last 16 years. Okay, doing good. Okay, and there's a difference from good to great. Good is the enemy of great. She was doing good, but she was tired of watching every damn day success, huge success. Younger automotive professionals, not in age but in experience, fledgling automotive professionals knocking out of the park. And she was like, "Man, this is stupid. Like, what the hell am I missing here? I know that I'm capable of more." But so this is why I do what I do. This is why we have the Millionaire Car Salesman group. This is why I'm live streaming this right now, because I want to show people what is the potential. For the love of God, Vic, you know what just changed my life the other day? I just interviewed Grant. I've been friends with Grant, for years now. I've known Grant for 15 years, and we've been partners with him for 2 years. And, him, Jared, and his whole team are phenomenal. But to watch a car salesman who self-admittedly had bad habits, who was a trainer like me that was selling his CDs out of the trunk of his car, You know what I mean? To be the freaking Discovery Channel's undercover billionaire with 3.1 million,
Right.
Instagram followers. I mean, hanging out with Snoop Dogg and all sorts of crazy stuff. I'm like, damn, the potential for all of us is more than what we're all doing right now. Me included, you included, everybody included. There's more. And the one thing that Grant says, he says it over and over again, his biggest regret is he didn't think bigger sooner. I'm going to repeat that. His biggest regret is that he didn't think bigger sooner. And this is what Ali Reda says. This is what Cody Carter says. This is what Damien Bordeaux says. And this is what I'm hearing from you, is that you were motivated by all the stuff that you see here. So, okay. So I want to transition, get into your success.
And let me say this real quick, Sean, because
LA, go ahead.
yeah, one of the keys is that only winners fill that void. Right? If you're not a winner, if you're okay with your life, you won't even feel the void. So what I heard you say was that there was a hole that you said, man, I need to fill some gaps. And so that's why you're a superstar, Vicky. And I appreciate you saying that. Thank you so much.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah.
So LA, that's really powerful, man. I would 100% agree. So Vicky, talk to us. Okay, out of the 36, units that you sold the other month, question for you: what was the breakdown? How many were special finance? How many were lease? And then were there any fresh ups or anything else like that in there?
Yeah. So I had 12 lease repeats.
Okay.
That came in. They either wanted to buy out their vehicle, which still counts as a unit at our store, or they flipped over into a new lease. 5 of them were special finance. 2 of those, which by the way, I live here in Kentucky, so they were open BKs. We're allowed to sell vehicles for people that are in open BKs. It works a little different, I'm sure, from state to state. 6 were previous customers. They just happened to call me up and said, "Hey, I'm looking for a car. I need a new car or a used car or whatever." I only had 1 referral last month, which I thought was a little off. I pulled 1 out of service. I pulled 1 off of, we use Auto Alert here. I pulled 1 off of Auto Alert. I had a orthodontist office here in town that they've been my customer forever. They bought 4 units all in one day. That was a crazy day. But they bought 4 units all in one day from me. And then
and that day, wait a minute, you sold 5 cars that day, if I remember right?
Yes, yeah.
I remember. I follow you, girl. I'm a fan.
It was insane. I was running around here insane. Because, I don't have an assistant. So I have to gas them up detail, do the credit app, qualify, get the pencil, do all the front end paperwork, go get the car ready, gas it up, run it through the wash, send it over to detail, bring it back over, So, you're doing this 4 or 5 times a day, your legs are going to be a little tired.
Yes.
So, and then my last one, you're actually going to really love this, Sean, because this is so old school. But I had someone text me, and I had done what would you take? I was at the grocery store. I saw an older Camry. It looked really super nice. I put a note on their windshield, and would you believe it? They actually texted me. Got him in the dealership, traded him out, and they left in a brand new Camry.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Because I'm all about old school and new school. So for your youngins, if you don't understand what we're saying right here, is that she actually used a piece of paper and she left them a handwritten note. Can you tell them what the note said, Vicky?
I had a crumpled up McDonald's bag that was in my seat. I was off work. I had to stop off at my grocery store at Kroger. I had to run in. I pulled in. I was like, that's a good looking older Camry. And so I tore it off of the brown paper bag of the McDonald's. I scribbled on it. I'm like, "I love your older Camry. What would you take?" And question mark, please call me. I want to buy your car. And I left my name. I didn't leave my first and last name. I just left my first name and my cell phone number. And I put it on the windshield. I was like, I do that probably 8 to 10 times a month. It's not like I'm casing people's cars or anything, but if I just happen to be, walking past one, and I do that 8 to 10 times a month, and I actually got a sale off of it. It's been a while.
But it's the whole thing is that you have the endurance, Vicky. That's beautiful. I know that strategy, and I don't know many people that do that, especially nowadays. Again, but I think that's hysterical. You didn't have even a business card on purpose. You didn't have a piece of paper. You had a McDonald's bag, and that just taking the time. And see, normal people would have been, and people, when I say normal, like the regular mediocre people would have been like, should I do this all the time? And nobody ever responds back. But you know what? You don't stop, because it's a numbers game. It might be 10 people you got to leave a note on. Hell, it might be 100 people, but who gives a shit? If it's 150 people, if that 151st person calls you back and you spot a car, and it might be, you average 4 G's a copy. I mean, like, Jesus Christ, that's amazing. So you guys hear what she just said. She was out at the grocery store, saw older vehicle, and said, you know what? I'm going to try to buy that vehicle from the public, not the dealership, her. She wound up turning around and converting that into a car sale and took in a good vehicle on trade. Is that correct, Vicky?
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
LA, is that strong or what?
That's phenomenally strong.
You're on mute, LA.
Oh, wow. Hold on.
While he figures out how to use the buttons here, my sidekick.
No, that's okay. I mean, and you don't want to tell them like, hey, I work at Toyota, because customers are going to think that like it's a total sales trick. And, you just tell them to call your cell phone. They call your cell phone and you're like, hey, can you meet me here? And then, can you meet me up here at Toyota, Toyota? They come here and then they're like, oh, I didn't know you worked for a dealership. Well, yeah, of course, let's take a look at your car. Would you be interested in selling it? Are you maybe looking for a newer vehicle that has the Apple CarPlay, the new safety features, the 10 airbags, the Toyota Care, whatever it is that you're selling, whatever product. And then all of a sudden you're like, we didn't really think about it. What do they look like?
You just said a good point. So can you go through that again a little bit slower, like you were training my daughter? Because I want to tell my daughter Kalina this. So if you're talking to Kalina, who's brand new, she just turned 20, and she's on the showroom floor. It's my princess, my second girl in the industry right now. And again, how would you train her, because she's brand new, on this idea? Just pretend like you're talking to her.
What I would do, Kalina, do not give them a business card. 100%. If you're going to do a what would you take, it only works if it looks like it's completely spontaneous. And, you keep a Post-it note or a pad. I mean, I didn't even have that in the car. I used a McDonald's bag. You put your name on it. What would you take? I'm interested in your vehicle. And your first name. I didn't even put my last name, just first name and my cell number. And you just put it on their windshield. You walk away and, you just never know. Is it going to be 5 times? Is it going to be 6 times? Is it going to be 100 times? I haven't seen one of those in over a year.
But so let's say we got that part, but now the most important part is they call back. Okay. So go through so when they call you, they're like, hey, you left something on my window. What's the dialogue like? Because I heard a big nugget. You said you don't tell them that you're the dealership. You just tell them to meet you at the dealership.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I just tell them to meet me there. I'm like, hey, is there any way you can meet me at, 123 Main Street? What time works for you best? I can meet you there at 3, or I can meet you there at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And it's just like a phone close.
So wait a minute. So you don't tell them, meet me at ABC Toyota. You just give the address, meet me at, can you meet me at 123 Main Street? That's there. Okay. That's a good tip. Okay. Keep going.
Text me, do me a favor. Why don't you text me when you're on the way?
Right.
And they'll do that because they're, everyone is a step-by-step directional type of person, whether we're process people or we're overall, people are going to do that. Oh yeah, sure. I can meet you there. No big deal. They pull into the parking lot and they're like, oh, does she work here? Or, and they come in a little confused. Hey, I'm looking for Vicky, and all of a sudden, like, I pop out and I'm like, hey, girl, hey,
right.
Let's go take a look at your car. I didn't get a chance to look at the inside. I didn't want to be rude, being a car stalker.
Right.
And, you just kind of it starts opening up that relationship with them as far as like, are you considering maybe purchasing a new vehicle? Well, but I can't let go of my car. I'm emotionally attached to it. I'd have to have, at least $6,000-$7,000 for it. Well, boom, you just landed into a car deal, and it works. It works.
Well,
It's not going to work
congratulations.
every time. It's not going to work every time. Your phone's not going to be ringing off the hook. And like Sean said, consistency, you have to do it. It's something that, shouldn't always be like, oh God, I have to go send out 10, what would you take? So I'm at the mall today,
Right.
But you have to just kind of remember, you know what, I need to do 4 or 5 a month. And
Right.
you might not ever hear from these people. And then again, you may.
It's called planting
I love
seeds.
it.
That's
You're
what I was
just- you're
saying a
taking
second ago.
swings. LA?
I was saying it's called planting seeds. And so every seed that you plant is not going to grow either. So that's just how it goes down.
But isn't it a creative idea, LA? And
I love
again, this is something that I grew up with when I was selling cars, but we don't hear people doing stuff like that anymore because we're so conditioned with digital and social media. Now, in all fairness, obviously pandemic plays into this, but I think it's good to bring back tradecraft. This is good car people tradecraft that I think the younger generation just don't do. Like, again, millennials and Generation Z people, what? You're leaving a note on somebody's windshield? Like, why? Because
That's
it
weird.
gets you car sales,
Yeah.
stupid. That's
Well,
why.
and it's also different.
Yeah, that's weird.
I love
Yeah. And then of course I split a half a deal with them when I was off that day. So that's how I got a half deal.
Let's do this. Let's transition now to special finance. I want to talk about leasing too, but I want to talk about special finance, man. I love subprime. I love working with subprime people because I ain't gonna lie, I love money. I mean, and there's grosses. For people keeping tally here, the highest gross I ever did, I'll never forget. This is a long time ago because I haven't sold cars on the floor besides consulting and training. Was you ready for this, Vicky? I sold a 1999 Cadillac Catera with a 10G gross on it. You know what I mean? And again, and they loved it. You know what I mean? And so because the car booked out very well, that's how we're able to do that. So explain, let's go through special finance. And I could, spar because I'm pretty good in subprime as well. Let's talk about why did you get into special finance? Was it because you liked it or because there was a need or both? And tell me what you like about working special finance customers.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Auto Credit Express is the leader in subprime auto financing. For over 20 years, we have served the online consumer, working to match the best dealers with consumers who need their help securing financing. With more than 250,000 leads per month, Auto Credit Express is the authority for dealers who understand that the special finance deal generates a higher gross profit. We've worked hard to innovate our solutions, bringing you Buyer Assist to drive consumer text engagement, building out robust solutions to help the underserved Spanish-speaking community. We now deliver proof of income on our leads through our proprietary STIPS feature and are building dealer-branded social media marketing campaigns to help you, the dealers, build your brand. Contact Auto Credit Express today to learn how we can help you own your market for subprime finance. Sell more cars with higher gross profit and partner with Auto Credit Express today. Mention the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast for a special discount today.
At the very first Dealer e-Process keynote, Gino Ciparroni and Sam Vukas introduced new tools and strategies to drive conversion, new designs to increase customer engagement, and new technologies to dominate the competition. Visit dealereprocess.com/keynote to watch and see what's new in 2021.
I knew absolutely nothing about special finance when I started. There was a sales guy here that had been here for 20 years. He was making 240 plus a year here. And he never once got a lead. He had to find them himself.
Wow.
And he retired. He left our dealership, and there was a need there. And they offered me the dealership. They offered me. He was the number one top paid income earner here at the store. So, they offered it to me. I've been here 7 years, and I was like, yeah, sure. I'm always into learning something new. And, we just kind of ran with it. We hired a special finance director that had relationships with a bank, which is totally key for special finance. And, we just kind of built a program from there. There was myself and another salesperson. And so we worked directly with our special finance director. There's a lot of things here in Kentucky that maybe are different in different states. We are allowed to work open Chapter 7 BKs and
That's
open.
crazy to me. That's crazy to me. God bless you. That definitely helps.
Yeah. So the open BKs are, 135 plus is what, banks will buy.
Wait a minute. Explain. Listen, you're speaking my language now, but explain what you just said to people that don't understand special finance. What does 135 plus mean?
135 is 135% of the value. So, when you start talking about what banks will buy as far as a loan, most will go to 122% of loan value, correct? So if you've got somebody with bullet credit that's an 800 plus or more, that's about as far as they'll reach. Special finance, if you are in a bankruptcy, they will go all the way up to 135%, plus your taxes, plus your tags, plus your back end products. That's where you start seeing these grosses.
Yes. My experience is this. There's a couple of things for special finance success, and I want to lead you, and then I want to get your opinion. One is going to be, in my humble opinion, it's inventory, because you cannot sell cars to special finance customers if they don't book out the right way. And so again, it's being able to have a good supply of inventory. So whether that's you're buying the right vehicles from the public or you're buying the right vehicles from the auction, you have to have cars that book out right. And this is what I was talking about, like the Cadillac Catera, for example. Besides having the right inventory, I would agree with you, having the right banks. And when I say banks, I mean plural, because different banks and credit unions have different programs for different credit situations, different fees, different, realities. And then from there, it's having the right special finance staff. Okay, because if you just try to throw special finance leads to regular BDC reps that are used to handling unsold Trump traffic or internet deals, but people don't realize that a special finance deal, the prospect might think it's about the car, but it's not. It doesn't matter what you're looking for. It's about the approval. And then the last piece of it is the right standard operating procedures, meaning what is the CRM process? What is the follow-up process? What's the engagement process? What's the selling process? So that's my opinion. Would you agree or modify that in your perspective?
I totally agree. You have to have the right inventory. And I'll tell you, that's a lot of maybe where our dealership has suffered because of, the crazy COVID market right now. It's practically impossible to buy those cars. We're always looking, but you have to have the right cars. You have to have, with the pandemic hit, the unemployment thing, it's getting a little tougher and tougher. But the return is because once they become a special finance customer, as a professional, you're going to move them out of special finance. Yes. And then, 3, 4, 5 years ago, that's the goal, right? That's the goal, is to be able to get them to prime, or leasing a vehicle, and to have them keep coming back. And then now all of a sudden, hey, I got a great deal from Vicky. She got me into this reliable car. I have my $350 a month payment. You need to go see her. And that's how special finance starts. Special finance is truly a 100% referral based business.
Vicky, that's why you're successful, but this is the difference, okay? You are an automotive professional. There's a lot of car salesmen and car saleswomen out there, I hate to say it, but keeping it real, that don't see it that way. What they do is let me crack them or club them like a baby seal, because they don't got any options. They're a rat, they're a bogue, they're a mooch, they're this, they're that. And they don't think of that. One of the things that I love when I do special finance is that a car loan is by far one of the absolute best ways to either establish credit or reestablish credit. And if you have the right paradigm, which you obviously do, that it's not about just like getting somebody approved and maxing gross profit on it. But if you really sincerely want to help solve a problem, if you really truly want to help serve your client and help them evolve in life and stabilize their credit situation, these people are one of the most loyal people. If you treat them with respect, you're transparent with them, and you're able to help them. My gosh, these are long-lasting relationships. And to your point, man, I love what you said. These are referral generating machines. Matter of fact, I've got people I couldn't get approved because it was just not possible. But I treated them with respect and dignity and kindness, that they were great referral people, that I would hit them and spiff them on bird dogs. And they like, for example, this off the top of my head, I remember one person, right, that they just didn't have the down payment. And there's no way we're getting approved without at least like a G down. This person gave me like 5 different like deals within like, I think it was like 5 weeks, like no exaggeration. And with all the money they made from the bird dog stuff, they had their down payment. So am I speaking truth from your experience, or am I just?
You're absolutely 100%. I mean, and you're not gonna swing. You're gonna swing for the fences, and at some point you might only get to first base. But you keep doing those deals that just get you on the base. One of those is gonna drop, and it's a progressive business. You want those people to come back to you. And what you said, you have to be honest with these people. You cannot tell them, oh no, I got you a great deal, you're only at $315 a month. You have to be honest with these people. Look, I know that I'm putting you in a negative equity situation, but I also know that in 24, in 30 months, if you come back to me with some money down and you've made all your payments on time, guess what? I can get you out of this higher interest rate loan, and we can get you moving on to the next step. And honesty is like 100% the key with these people.
I would agree. Can you, let's, we don't have to go into full role play, but let's go through this. How do you get your traffic right now? Is it just from, is it like a special finance lead source provider, like, Auto Credit Express or something like that? Or is it just people that happen to come into your dealership, have a lot of bad credit? Like I know Nashville, for example, is like the bankruptcy capital of the world. I'm just exaggerating, but so how is it, are you specifically buying subprime leads, or are you reacting to all the subprime, opportunities that walk through your door?
We use a CRM, basically. It's called Online BK Manager. And what basically that does is it throws in every single person in the state of Kentucky that filed bankruptcy.
Okay.
So you have this mass list of people. Now, you're only going to have their name and their address. So again, you have to go old school, because there is no phone number, there is no email. You have their name and their address, and that is it. And from there, you mass mail out letters. You may happen to luck into finding an email or maybe a cell phone number on, a document, but you have to go old school. Now, Online BK Manager handles those letters for us, because I tried it. I cannot do it. I cannot send out 500, 600, 1,200 letters a month. I honestly really don't have time to deal with a mailer and licking envelopes, and I can't do that. But that is our CRM that does that. And from there, they automatically will go into our CRM, create the lead, and that's where you start doing, the follow-up. And these people have my cell phone number, they have the dealership number, and you just have to hope that 20 letters out of 5,000 that get mailed a month, people are going to call you. And then from there, that's going to grow.
So let's pick up right there. So what I'm hearing is a lot of these leads are coming, they're calling you based on the marketing that's going out. Is that correct? So let's talk through this. LA is the phone master. Let's see, let's go through it. I'm calling up. Let's go into role play. You ready?
I'm ready.
That's what I'm talking about. See, about that life, tens of thousands of people. No pressure, no pressure, no pressure. All right. So,
I'm ready.
So let's go into for real. Like, so I'm just going to call up. I'm going to go ring, ring. You're going to answer it like you normally do. Ring. Ring.
Welcome to Toyota on Nicholasville. This is Vicky. Are you shopping for a vehicle today?
Possibly. I got this thing in the mail. I got bad credit and saying that you guys could possibly get me approved. So I don't know if this is real or not. So yeah, I need a car.
Awesome. Well, let me do this. Let me ask you, can you please tell me what did the letter say exactly?
And whatever it said.
Right. And let me just go off base for just a minute, because if you have multiple mailers going out, you really have to know where this lead is coming from, so you know how to go into the next phone call, because they might not be a BK, they may just be subprime.
Very good.
So go from there. Well, I'm so glad that you received the letter. Number one, I'm so glad that it got to you. I am hopeful and very willing to be able to help you get yourself into a vehicle. Let me ask you this. What are you currently driving now?
Well, besides my bus pass, no, I'm kidding. So I have right now a 2006 Ford Escort.
That sounds like a very reliable vehicle. Has it been good to you?
Yeah, but it's on its last leg.
Let me ask you a question. Are you the only person in your family? Are we looking for something maybe a little larger? Are we shopping for a car, truck, or SUV today?
Well, I have a wife and a kid, but we're small people. We're only like 5'5", so we don't need a lot of room.
Small. I love it. I love it. I wish I could say I was small, but I'm not. So let me ask you this. let me ask you this. If you had a monthly budget to put towards a car payment, where would you say that would be?
Yeah, easy, as little as possible.
As little as possible, I understand. I only want to pay as little as possible towards my electric bill. But at the end of the day, the bill comes due every month. So I really want to try to fit what works in your budget. So based on that, do you think you could say somewhere around the $300 mark, be able to find a vehicle if we can find one that you love to see in your driveway? Is that something that would work for you?
If I had to, maybe, but I honestly, I would prefer to be around 250. But if I had to, but hopefully I don't have to.
Okay, great. Let me ask you this. Are you considering trading in or possibly selling your 2006 Ford Focus with 160,000 miles to me?
Well, see, that's the thing. Yeah, of course I would, but I was at a dealership and they called it a sled. I didn't know what he meant by that, but they said that there wasn't worth anything.
Well, let me go ahead and tell you this. The situation that you are in currently, by you receiving my letter, we love those types of vehicles. And let me explain to you why. As that vehicle has gotten you around town, it may be on its last leg, but it does have value. And there is one thing that these companies love to see is commitment from the customer. So if you would be willing to sell your vehicle to me today, is there any way that you would be able to get it up here so I would be able to take a look at it, and let's go from there?
Yeah, here's the problem though, is that of course I really do need a car, but I'm kind of skeptical because I've gone to dealerships before. Some people have been kind of mean to me in front of my wife or my kid. And I told you, somebody just called my car a sled. I still don't know what that really means. It doesn't sound nice. And I just don't want to come to the dealership and waste my time. And so and especially with COVID right now, I don't want to drag my wife or my kid to a dealership. Is there any way that you could let me know if you could possibly get me approved before I go down there?
You make a very valid point, and you know what, sir? I apologize. I did not even think about it. If you have a few minutes, would you be willing to give me some information so that we can work this over the phone so you don't have to come out here? Not yet.
Yeah, I would actually, yes, hell yeah, I would definitely appreciate that. But I do have a question. Somebody had told me that every time that I go to a car dealership and they run my credit, it's an inquiry or something. It's a strike against me. I don't really understand that, but I don't want to, just make my situation worse. By getting this letter, does this mean that I'm pre-qualified, that you think you could help me, or is this a fire drill?
Actually, in the state of Kentucky, because you are in an open Chapter 7 bankruptcy, you are automatically pre-qualified for a vehicle. Now, of course, there are some things that we don't know. I don't know, job time, income, how much do you pay for your bills, et cetera. So that is the information that I would like to gather from you right now. We do not have to run your credit because obviously right at this point, we already know what it is, right? Because you're in an open bankruptcy. So I don't need that information right now.
You had me at hello. I'm in. This sounds easy. Is there a catch here?
There is no catch. I just need some information from you, and I'm going to send you a link. I just need you to fill that out. And if you can, at your earliest convenience, please attach your most recent paycheck stub so that we can go ahead and take a look at your income and see what you would qualify for as far as a loan amount. Sounds good?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Auto Credit Express is the leader in subprime auto financing. For over 20 years, we have served the online consumer, working to match the best dealers with consumers who need their help securing financing. With more than 250,000 leads per month, Auto Credit Express is the authority for dealers who understand that the special finance deal generates a higher gross profit. We've worked hard to innovate our solutions, bringing you Buyer Assist to drive consumer text engagement, building out robust solutions to help the underserved Spanish-speaking community. We now deliver proof of income on our leads through our proprietary STIPS feature, and are building dealer-branded social media marketing campaigns to help you, the dealers, build your brand. Contact Auto Credit Express today to learn how we can help you own your market for subprime finance. Sell more cars with higher gross profit and partner with Auto Credit Express today. Mention the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast for a special discount today.
Attention auto dealers. You need an opportunity to do business to do business. AutoWeb is one of the largest suppliers of high quality leads. I mean, high quality buyers. At a 10% closing ratio, you will be at less than $190 per car sold. Don't just settle for what you get. AutoWeb can fully customize your results through targeted markets and or zip codes. And as a partner, you will get premium placement within search results. Who better to do that than literally the people that invented automotive internet sales? If you want to sell more cars more often and more profitably, then you need AutoWeb.
This is beautiful, Vicky. Obviously, you're a professional. I mean, like you just jumped right into role play, dialogue back and forth. It flowed. And I was trying to just have some fun with you with my stupid little comments, but you just took it on the chin. I do have a couple questions for you. What objections do you usually get or questions? Obviously, I was trying to give you some passive ones without not like, like slamming on you. But again, usually people do ask, look, can you get me approved, or what's my interest rate? So let's start with this. What would you say are the biggest questions or objections that subprime customers ask or bring up to you?
Number one is going to be income. This year, I'm not working right now. I'm on unemployment. Can I still get a car? I haven't made my car payment in 4 months because they deferred it because of COVID.
Ooh, this is good. Wait a minute, stop. You're tell me the answer. So what are you saying? I love that. So if somebody turns around, if I was the prospect still, and I'm like, listen, Vicky, I haven't been working because of COVID. Can you still help them?
The answer is no.
Okay.
The answer is no.
So
you have to have provable income, and you have to make income. I mean, across the board, subprime, there are a few, I won't name them, that don't require proof of income.
Right.
But you have to have some integrity in special finance. I mean, you don't want to put somebody in a really shitty situation and slam them with a $425 a month car payment just to push a unit over the curb. Like, that's not, that's just low. If honestly that they don't have a job, how are they going to pay for that car payment? And you're just putting them in a worse situation.
No, I agree with you.
The short answer to that is if you don't have provable income, I can't help you.
What about the next question? Just because we have a little bit of time left before I have to let before we stop at 3. My next question is this: what you just said. What about if their car payment was deferred or things like that? Can you help them with that or no?
It's going to show on their credit. And I know you probably don't see credit a lot, but it's going to show on their credit that's going to say account affected by natural disaster. Mm-hmm. So you have to really ask them at that point, hey, I noticed, was your payment deferred because of COVID? If they say yes, we're able to work with that.
Okay, good. So those are 2 big things. What else do they ask? What do special finance customers ask? What else?
I'm a door dasher. Can I get approved? I work for Uber. And the answer to that is, these people are 1099.
Right.
And, as long as, it's all about the steps. I mean, you know this, Sean, right? You've got to have the steps. Can you prove these direct deposits going into an account? Do you have 3 months or more? You know, that's the kind of stuff that really makes sure that you get a car deal bought.
So the answer to that is, yeah, you could, but with the stipulations that are verifiable. Okay. No, this is
Correct.
good. And what advice would you have to salespeople that are listening to this podcast in our group, and that are thinking about special finance, or more importantly, that special finance wasn't ever on their radar, but they're like, holy crap, this woman here is crushing it. And we didn't even say it, but you made over $15,100 in the month that you sold 36 cars, 15 stacks. And no disrespect to Kentucky, but 15,000 in Kentucky is way different than 15,000 in New York City. Am I correct?
Agreed.
So to
Agreed.
make $15,000, there's 15,100 reasons why special finance should be on your radar. What advice do you have for somebody, whether it's a salesperson or even a manager or an owner that is thinking about special finance? What is your advice?
My advice is, number one, very quickly, when you have their credit in front of you, or you pull it on 700 or whatever, and you're like, oh God, these people have a 580. Those are the people that you want in front of you. And if you treat them with respect, instead of being like, oh damn, this is going to be a lot of work. Special finance is not just here's the papers and sign. You have to follow up with these people. You have to make sure they get their steps in. If you can get their steps in ahead of time, when they come to the dealership, all you're doing is you're showing them the vehicle that you have approved them for, asking for their down payment money, or if they already have it, and you should have everything all laid out so that they aren't here for 3 or 4 hours. They're used to being told no. So when you're telling them yes, they're going to love you forever.
You know what? That is so powerful, Vicky. And you know what's interesting is that for me, usually dealerships have negative reputations, and some of it was warranted decades ago. But in today's day and age, with online reputation and social media, this is a huge opportunity for individual sales professionals or dealerships to not only make more money, but to really start develop a loyal following, because you said it just a couple moments ago, special finance isn't easy. This is not simple.
No.
It could be complex, calling into banks, rehashing the deal, getting a co-signer, chasing down steps. But there is a lot more gross potential to be made and long-term relationships. So just like if you're investing in business, with the greater risk comes greater reward. I like to translate that for special finance to dealerships. With the greater amount of work, comes a greater amount of profit potential. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just have to be, this isn't a customer with 800 credit score, sign. Let me, plug up your Apple CarPlay and send you on your way. This is I need everything up front. And you have to be able to be strong enough, and you can't be weak. You can't be saying, oh, okay, well, as long as you get it to me. No. You have to bring it here the day that you buy the car. Because it is true. Once these people leave, they're not going to make sure that you have done your job properly in order for them to get a car. You have to do that up front. And that is where the difference lies.
Well, Vicky, let me just tell you right now, first of all, I am beyond proud of you. I feel like, first of all, I feel like I'm getting old. I mean, the fact that we met 16 years ago, years ago, and we kept in touch, and your career's evolved, and now you're at the point where you're making $15,100 in Kentucky, but more importantly, you're helping people improve the quality of their life. You're helping them reestablish their credit. You're helping them establish their credit for first-time buyers. So thank you so much for spending your time, here in this environment in the Millionaire Car Salesman group and the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast. And I look forward to continuing sharing your success. So thank you so much, Vicky.
You're welcome.
At the very first Dealer eProcess keynote, Gino Ciparroni and Sam Vukas introduced new tools and strategies to drive conversion, new designs to increase customer engagement, and new technologies to dominate the competition. Visit dealereprocess.com/keynote to watch and see what's new in 2021.
Hundreds of dealers have switched to VinQ in 2020. For a limited time, VinQ will match any special trial offers the other guys are throwing out there. With VinQ, replace 5 systems with one solution: market pricing, inventory management, wholesale and private party acquisitions, advertising, and reconditioning. Don't miss out on the chance for better data, increased churn, and higher gross per sale. Stop competing on price alone and start competing on value with VinQ. Request a live look at VinQ.com.
Hey guys, subscribe to my dad's podcast and share with all your friends.
If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.